Welcome to your financial forecast for 2025. In this video, I will break down secrets, tips, and give you important dates to make more money in the year to come. My name is Anastasia. I'm a traditional Western astrologer specializing in natal, relationship, and predictive readings. If you enjoy my work, please show your support by leaving me a like, a comment, subscribing, and pressing the notification bell. Watch more of my content to help bring more attention to my channel, or say thank you by buying me a tea, a coffee, or a holiday present. I really appreciate every single one of you. Even if you're just sending me happy thoughts or leaving nice comments, all of that makes me happy. Before we dive in, if you're looking for more guidance, you want to figure out what the year ahead has in store for you personally in terms of your real estate situation, your love, your career, your finances, book a reading at anastasiadoesastrology.com. My 2025 forecasts are currently discounted. You can save $20 on the in-person consultation or $40 on the recorded reading in the shop section of my website. Information is in the description. I also do natal chart, more general readings, or relationship readings if you need help understanding your relationship and making it better. On my website, you can also find a variety of products I create. For example, my 2025 astrology planner. It has 223 pages filled with insights about astrology, journaling prompts, spaces to set your intentions, information about lunar phases, lunar signs, and so much more. I even included positive dates for love, for business, and more challenging transits to watch out for. Check it out. Check out my website. It takes a couple of weeks to print and ship, so you want to order it as soon as possible. And since we're talking about money, I'd like to highlight my luckiest candle, and that is Jupiter in Taurus. It captures the planet of growth and abundance in the sign of financial stability and security, Taurus, co-present with Venus in rulership in Taurus. It is perfect for creating confidence, optimism, and manifesting your dreams, especially right now when we are in a year-long cycle of Jupiter in Gemini, which is Jupiter in the sign of its detriment. It's great for intellectual pursuits, but it's harder to find optimism and a single-minded purpose during this period. So if you need a little bit of help to improving your finances, helping you reach professional goals, and getting other kinds of rewards and recognition, highly recommend this. I recommend this even more if you're born with Jupiter in Gemini, which is the sign of detriment, Jupiter in Virgo, Jupiter in Capricorn, another sign of detriment and fall. If your natal Jupiter is in the 6th, 8th, or 12th houses, if it's conjunct, opposite, or square Saturn, perfect candle for you. On my website, you can also find other creations. For example, Fire of Aries has a lot of firepower, perfect for initiating things, and also has that lucky energy as Jupiter was in Aries conjunct the moon at the time I made it. So check out my website for that and any other creations. I have made a couple of videos about 2025 already. Highly recommend you check them out. There's a love forecast and there is a career forecast. So looking at money might be it's really good to look at the two together, I think, because career and money go hand in hand. I am in this video going to look at the 2nd house primarily and the planet that rules your 2nd house, as well as 8th house, because 2nd house represents your resources and finances, and 8th house represents partners' resources and finances. We will touch on the 10th house transits for sure, and some of the important planetary shifts. As you may already know, we have a lot of planets changing signs in 2025. Uranus, Neptune, Jupiter and Saturn also change signs. So 4 planets, 2 of them transpersonal, social planets, and 2 outer planets. And we already have Pluto shifting. It already shifted into Aquarius. So a lot of change, a lot of things to talk about. My personal highlights, the signs that I think will have a lot of big financial wins in 2025 are Taurus, Gemini, Scorpio, and Sagittarius. But every other sign has something to look forward to. So let's dive into the forecasts. Like I mentioned, if you'd like a personal look, because these will be more general based on your rising sign, I recommend listening to the rising sign, but you can also listen to your sun or your moon. But if you're looking for a more personal touch, book a reading at anastasiadoesastrology.com for that specific forecast related to you. So let's start with Aries rising. If you are an Aries rising, your 8th house of other people's money is Scorpio. Your 2nd house of your money is Taurus. So at the start of the year, we have Mars retrograde. And since Mars rules you, and Mars rules the house of other people's money, there might be a sense that you are recalibrating on some level. You're maybe dealing with a change in finances. You're maybe dealing with a change in dynamics when the resources of other people are not as available to you. Maybe you're dealing with some kind of debts, loans, taxes. You're waiting on payments, and at the start of the year, like I said, that the support of other people at the beginning of the year might be lacking. Your personal resources, however, like early on might be okay, or there might be a little bit of support because Venus rules your 2nd house of personal resources, and she starts the year in Pisces, the sign of her exaltation. So between January 2nd and February 4th, she's in Pisces, your 12th house, direct. North Node enters Pisces. So there's a lot of focus in 2025 on your 12th house, which is interesting because for a while we've had Saturn in your 12th house since March 2023. And you may have been clearing some debts, completing some chapters, right? Closing some cycles personally and financially. And so with the year starting off with such a heavy Pisces focus, and the node shifting into Pisces, I think it suggests to me that you're very close to closing the chapter you've been working on. There's a lot of focus with the ruler of your house of money being the house of spirituality. She will later also retrograde there. And with the eclipses starting to happen in the 12th house, there's a lot of focus this year on you potentially shifting gears to do work that is less about the grind, less potentially even involved, less difficult and heavy. And like, you know, with Virgo eclipses in your 6th house, we're going to have the lunar eclipse, which is about endings, on March 14th. And then we're going to have a new moon on August 23rd and the solar eclipse in Virgo on September 21st. You are letting go of some type of heavy professional obligation, right? For some of you, it might be switching jobs where you're choosing to be less of a manager and more of a creator, potentially. You're going in the direction of the 12th house. Or you're moving away from having an office and you're starting to work from other locations. You're releasing, right? You're sort of shifting gears significantly, and you're also going into healing and becoming a healer. And so Venus in the 12th house, eclipses in the 12th house definitely suggest some kind of money-making opportunities that maybe involve having more free time, maybe imaginative work, creative work, healing work. And I really quite like the first month from January 2nd until February 4th with Venus in Pisces. It does suggest that there is like maybe new finances coming in for you while you're still feeling short when it comes to other people's money. But that's okay. You can figure it out, right? Mid-January, Venus squares Jupiter in your 3rd house. You might be spending a little bit excessively, so watch out for overspending, because Venus will conjoin Saturn 3 times, January 18th, April 7th, and April 24th. And those might be the times when you are called to get serious about your finances. Venus enters Aries on February 4th. She will be in the sign of her detriment for about a month and a half, and she will go retrograde on March 1st. So the ruler of your house of finances is retrograde. Not only the ruler of the house of partner's money and maybe insurance money or child support, child care payments, that ruler is retrograde, so your partner is going through some kind of financial readjustment. But now the ruler of your house of money and the house of partnerships is going retrograde. So Venus retrograde between March 1st and April 12th coincides, funny enough, with Mercury also retrograding around the same time from Aries into Pisces. And so once again, you find yourself in this position of asking yourself, who am I? And what do I want to be known for? And as the ruler of the house of money is moving from the first house of identity into the 12th house of spirituality, healing, foreign lands, mental health, helping other people, right? Like you are professionally, once again, I think it's a continuation of that process, but maybe you are dealing with some kind of adjustments and delays. On March 22nd, there's Venus Cazimi in Aries, which could be the time of clarity and maybe some answers financially and relationally, professionally as well. And then we get the final solar eclipse in your first house on March 29th with Venus and Mercury retrograde. So this feels like very much a big question around comfort and security. Mars will be the ruler of the eclipse. Mars will be in your fourth house. And so you are looking at the last 2 years and realizing how much you've changed, and you're committing to a new chapter in your life, a new version of yourself. Because what happens the day after this eclipse is that Neptune enters your first house. It will be a shorter stay at first. It's only from March 30th until October 22nd. But in 2026, Neptune will ingress permanently for a while. And then Saturn also dips into your first house between May 24th and September 1st in 2025, and also ingresses permanently in 2026. So you are stepping up, right? You are changing directions, and initially the finances can be, especially in the early 2025, your finances may be restricted. There may be some challenges, especially during that retrograde period. And even, with Venus being in Aries from February 4th until March 27th, and then again from April 30th until June 6th, it's Venus in detriment. So you are, I think, taking more responsibility, you're stepping up, you're discovering a new purpose, but it takes some time to get the finances straightened out. So a little bit of friction in the beginning of the year. Maybe you're having to spend on things you didn't count for. Things do begin to improve in June. So on June 6th, Venus enters Taurus, your second house of money, and she will be here for about a month until July 4th. And this is a benevolent, strong Venus. That's why I recommend my Jupiter in Taurus candle for you guys, because it falls in the second house of money and it was created with Venus in Taurus. So it's a double power, great for manifesting more stability. So between June 6th and July 4th, Venus in Taurus is quite lovely. We also have Jupiter, the planet of good luck, shifting into the sign of its exaltation, your fourth house, between June 9th, 2025, and for a full year, all the way until June 30th, 2026. With Venus in Taurus and Jupiter in Cancer, you're maybe looking at getting support from family. You're maybe creating a home office and feeling more grounded. You're maybe selling or buying a home. Not gonna lie, this period from June 9th, 2025 until June 30th, 2026 is a really great time to buy a house. If you are in real estate, if you're working from home, if you're doing property management, if you're in family business, this is a great sign for money increasing and resources increasing. I'd like to highlight the fact that Venus will also be in Libra between October 13th and November 6th, and that is another sign where Venus is happy and in rulership. And at the same time, there's also a full moon on November 5th in your second house of money. So later in the year, if you have started projects early on, if you have maybe committed to education, or if you have invested into real estate, by the end of the year, October, November, is when things start to feel kind of more abundant, I think. Another major shift that is worth mentioning is that Uranus leaves Taurus for a little bit, which means that between July 7th and November 7th, when it is in Gemini, it is another sign of more stability financially, because you've had Uranus in Taurus, your second house of money, since 2018, 2019. And so maybe your finances have been unstable. Maybe there has been more pressure to be independent, to be self-reliant. And so between July 7th, November 7th, Uranus goes into Gemini, which is another sign of you working towards independence, starting a business, taking your skills to the next level, making money through unique ideas, using AI technology, your words, your knowledge, and more financial stability. And then Uranus returns to your second house between November 7th, 2025 and April 25th, 2026. But then after that, it's gone. So there might be a little bit more shakeups at the end of the year. Please share how this resonates. I hope it does. And if you're looking for more guidance, book a reading at anastasiadoesastrology.com. I'd be happy to look at your year to come. My 2025 forecasts are currently discounted. Information is in the description. Or we can talk about your relationship or your natal chart. For the beautiful Taurus rising, 2025 is the year of new dreams and new beginnings for you. There is a lot going on in your professional sector. We just had Pluto enter Aquarius, your 10th house. You are being reborn professionally, you are facing fears, you are becoming more honest about your desire for power and recognition, and you're taking action, right? You're stepping to the plate and you're owning your power, your strength. You're maybe also working towards business, fame, visibility. You're still dealing with a little bit of questions around community and who your support system is, who you can rely on, and maybe even pursuing dreams involving community as the North Node enters your 11th house. What is quite interesting is, so you are a Taurus rising, your second house of money, your money, is Gemini. Your 8th house of partners' money is Sagittarius. So early in the year, the ruler of your partner's house of money is in your house of money, which might suggest that maybe your partner is relying on you, if you're in a relationship especially. So it might suggest that the partner's finances are a little bit not so good right now, because the ruler of their house of finances is in detriment. Jupiter is in detriment. That's why I'd really recommend my Jupiter in Taurus candle, because it's a stronger Jupiter, great for finances, abundance, manifestation. So at the start of the year, the first 6 months, approximately 5 months until June 9th, Jupiter, the ruler of the 8th house, is in your house, and maybe you're working together with your partner. Maybe they're at home, maybe they lost their job, or maybe they're just going through some kind of adjustment. And you could be more of maybe they're relying on you, right? However, Jupiter being in your second house is also a pretty lucky time, right? It's a sign of there being more opportunities. You're maybe expanding your reach somehow. You're reaching for new goals. You're partnering up with people, starting new joint ventures. You're maybe leaning into teaching, guiding other people. I really like June 8th as Mercury conjoins Jupiter. It's Mercury in rulership in your house of money, conjunct Jupiter. So by June, by late May, June, you may see, especially if it's something you've been working on for a while, you may see interesting kind of great gains in your house of finances. I said it funny, finances. So what's interesting, another big thing is Jupiter does leave your house of money on June 9th. And it shifts into the third house of business and siblings, neighbors, community, writing. So on some level, it suggests that the work that you've done, the seeds that you planted, you now see some of them bloom and take off. And so with Jupiter exalted in the third house between June 9th, 2025 and June 30th, 2026, you are growing, you experience gains and sales. You're also likely profiting through your relationships with siblings or neighbors or community, right? You have maybe built a yoga center and you see people flock to you, and you're sort of rooting and grounding. Jupiter in Cancer is very like family, nurturing, community oriented sign. So it's lovely, especially in June, because we're going to have Jupiter Cazimi on June 24th. There's a beautiful new moon here on June 25th. And another thing is that this is the ruler of your partner's house of money. So as the ruler of their money becomes exalted, it means that you are also more likely to receive support from your partner. Or what it also might mean, because 8th house also represents commission and inheritance and insurance payments. So if you're waiting for any of that, from the middle of the year, you're more likely to see it. So that is quite exciting. Uranus will dip into Gemini between July 7th and November 7th next year. It's going to return to Taurus, but then fully ingress into Gemini in April 2026. But that's interesting because it does suggest that your finances, especially during this period between July 7th and November 7th, might be a bit unpredictable. You're maybe leaning towards taking risks financially. Make sure you're doing research and not just making reckless decisions. But going in the direction of science, technology, AI, modernizing your work somehow, investing into technology is more likely. Sudden gains, sort of quick gains, but also potentially quick losses are possible here. So once again, be very thoughtful. Pay attention to the themes that get introduced between July 7th and November 7th, because this energy will continue working its way through our hearts and our minds as we keep kind of going through Uranus and Gemini. The best advice is definitely lean into this scientific, technological, future-oriented mindset. So let me see what other things are worth mentioning. Mercury rules your second house of money. It's going to be retrograde 3 times between March 15th and April 7th, from your 12th into 11th. And financially, maybe you're dealing with some kind of unexpected spending, something you didn't quite account for. So make sure to allow some extra money laying around. There might also be tensions in your friendships, and could also be the time when you are rethinking who your allies are, right? Because I think as we're talking about you making money from your community and your business, there may be a need for some readjustment and some clarity and maybe renegotiating, especially between like March 15th, April 7th, as Mercury retrogrades from Aries into Pisces. Some adjustment in the home, in your home office, is likely needed between July 18th and August 11th as Mercury retrogrades in Leo, your 4th house. You may be moving, and financially maybe dealing with some kind of, sudden expenses that include your home. And then between November 9th and November 29th, Mercury will retrograde from your 8th house of partners money into 7th house of partnerships. And so this could suggest that you are having to renegotiate your agreement with your partner and maybe find a better balance, more fairness in your relationship, or also deal with some kind of outstanding payments that are owed to you, child support, and things like that. Please share how this resonates. Are you excited for 2025? If you're looking for more guidance, book a reading at anastasiadoesastrology.com. My year ahead consultations are currently discounted. Information is down below. and pick up my Jupiter in Taurus candle. It's perfect for you as the Taurus rising. If you are a Gemini rising, I am super, super excited for you because there are major Jupiterian blessings ahead. Your finances are going to increase, bloom, and blossom. And I would ask that you reflect back on 12 years ago and see whether you've noticed some kind of increase in your finances between mid-2013, 2014. So first things first, right? You've had Saturn in your house of career since March 2023. It's going to stay there until May 2025, and then from September 2025 until February 2026. But Saturn in the 10th house could have felt like extra pressure, professionally dealing with, tough authority figures, maybe some kind of fear, maybe like a sense of wanting to start something new but not knowing how. There could have been restrictions, delays, roadblocks, more hard work, right? More effort, slower progress. Since we do have Saturn leaving your house of career for a little bit between May 24th and September 1st this year, you may notice that energy starts to shift and you're closing in on the reward finally. Another major shift that is happening is North Node is entering Pisces, your 10th house, for the next year and a half, from January 12th, 2025 until July 26th, 2026. And so with North Node in your 10th house, we're going to start having eclipses. We already had the first eclipse in Pisces on September 17th, 2024. Did anything happen in your career? Another eclipse in Pisces. First, we're going to have a new moon on February 27th, new beginnings. And then a second lunar eclipse in Pisces on September 7th. So you are very much in this period of professional change. You are called first by Saturn to commit to your dreams, to figure out what's worth pursuing, to find better balance, right, between working hard and having a good time. And so the eclipses in your 10th house are very much encouraging change. And so you may be choosing a different, more creative career. You may be completing a big project. Some type of realignment is happening, but there's a lot of attention on your house of career. And in the first half of the year, Jupiter is in your first house. It is the ruler of the house of career. It is in detriment until June 9th. So first half of the year, things do still feel a little bit frustrating. Because Jupiter rules the house of career, it might be a sign that your boss is currently in detriment somehow, right? They're struggling. They're maybe being more critical, more of a downer. Maybe they're giving you inconsistent directions or inconsistent schedule. However, my favorite part of the year and what I'm super excited about for you guys is the fact that Jupiter, still the ruler of your house of career, is entering Cancer, the sign of its exaltation, and your second house of money between June 9th, 2025 and June 30th, 2026. So a year and 3 weeks of Jupiter in the sign of exaltation. Financial growth, right? You are more inclined to nurture your passions. You are making solid choices. You are investing, you're getting a raise. Early in this transit, especially on June 24th, there is a Jupiter Cazimi in Cancer, your second house. On June 25th, there is a beautiful, abundant, lucky new moon conjunct Jupiter. And between July 30th and August 25th, Venus is also in Cancer, co-present with Jupiter. So the first, few months of June, July, even August are especially abundant. And do reflect back on 2013, 2014 to see whether your finances were blossoming. Be wary of spending too much too, because sometimes Jupiter comes into your second house. It gives you extra money, but it also takes money away. Because Jupiter is the sign of nurturance, Cancer is the sign of nurturance, family, food, comfort, loyalty. You may notice that you're benefiting through investing in those things. So of course, passion projects that you're emotionally attached to, but also getting support from your family, starting to work with your family on a family business, maybe benefiting through real estate, making good choices when it comes to selling or buying property, making investments into food industry as well. I can see here all the good stuff, right? It's quite lovely. And of course, it's worth mentioning that you will get a preview of Uranus in your first house between July 7th and November 7th, which is a lovely opportunity to get yourself ready for reinvention. Uranus in the first house is a sign of you becoming Prometheus, you becoming a source of change. And I really like that Jupiter is in Cancer as it happens the first time and in the beginning of the final sort of long-term transit when Uranus ingresses for 6 years in April 2026. Jupiter will still be there. But it's a sign that you are reinventing yourself, you're becoming more independent, you're following your bliss, you're following your dreams and taking more risks, right? And presenting the world a side of you that maybe they're unfamiliar with and feeling comfortable and financially supported while doing so. Please share how this resonates. Do you remember the last time Jupiter was in Cancer? What kind of blessings did it bring you? And if you're looking for more guidance, book a reading at anastasiadoesastrology.com. My year ahead consultations are currently discounted. Information is in the description and in pinned comment. And pick up my 2025 astrology planner as well on there to get yourself ready for the year to come. For the lovely Cancer rising, so an important shift that got started in 2024 is Pluto entering Aquarius, your 8th house. And 8th house represents money that comes to you from other people. It also represents your partner's resources, inheritance, insurance, tax payments, and overall sense of freedom, right, from debts, or a sense of engagement with other people, let's say. So Pluto being here for the next 20 years is calling you to free yourself from unhealthy relationships, partnerships, and debts. And so it's encouraging you to find courage to deal with darkness, to pay off, to both, like, I think, release dependencies, but also commit to partnerships and agreements that are more healthy. There might also be changes happening in your partner's finances with Pluto being in the 8th house, where maybe your partner is becoming more self-reliant if they were dependent on you, or vice versa. They're becoming more dependent and you're becoming more of a sole provider with Pluto in Aquarius. Your 2nd house is Leo, so it's ruled by the sun, and early on in the year, you're going through a sense of review. We have Mars retrograding between December 6, 2024 and February 23rd, 2025 from Leo, your 2nd house of money, into Cancer, your 1st house of identity. And you are rethinking your finances. You are, first of all, asking yourself what is of value to you, what is worth keeping, what is worth pursuing. And then with the 2nd half of the retrograde from January 6th until February 23rd in Cancer, you're looking at whether you have the energy and how do you need to get yourself in shape, literally or metaphorically. How do you need to change things? How do you need to express your energy in a better way to become the best version of yourself? So for some, this could be very much about a sense of self-worth, right? And really needing to just exercise to feel better about your body. But for many others, because we're looking at the house of money and values and the house of identity, you're looking at, like, how can I use my personality, my talents, the best things I have to offer to the world to also benefit and get abundance from it. Highly recommend my Jupiter in Taurus if you're looking for additional support, because it falls in your 11th house of dreams, and it is Jupiter in the sign, it loves material comforts and financial stability, co-present with Venus and rulership. So it's great. But be ready that early in the year, things maybe feel a little bit confusing. And that is okay. We have Mars retrograde followed by Venus retrograde between March 1st and April 12th. And Mars is retrograding in your deeply personal houses, and Venus retrogrades. Venus is always connected to desire. So early in the year, you feel uncertain. We have the final solar eclipse in Aries coming up simultaneously with Venus retrograde and Mercury retrograde. It occurs on March 29th, and it is in a way a culmination and a new beginning. It culminates the Aries eclipse chapter that got started in April 2022. Something started changing in your professional life. You've discovered more independence, you took more risks, you started a business, you started questioning things. And now this final eclipse is an ending, but it's a solar eclipse, so it's also a new beginning. And with Mercury retrograde and Venus retrograde moving from your 10th house into the 9th house, you are once again questioning what your best value is. And I think you're also looking at foreign connections, you're looking at foreign lands, you're looking at education, and you're wondering what kind of investments you need to make into yourself, what kind of education you need to get, and potentially also where is the best place for you, because we're going to start having next eclipses are shifting into Virgo and Pisces. And so March 14th, there is a lunar eclipse in Virgo. September 7th, there's a lunar eclipse in Pisces. September 21st, the solar eclipse in Virgo. And what is happening is a lot of shifts between your house of everyday life, your schedule, your business, your siblings, neighbors, and you're letting something go. So if we're talking about money, maybe you're letting go of your business, or you're letting go of your lemonade stand with your sibling, and you're moving in the direction of new beginnings that involve studying, traveling, moving, teaching. So your finances may be coming very much from that, because the second house ruler for you is the sun, and the sun is very deeply, intimately involved in the eclipses. Another important thing that is happening is Neptune is going to enter Aries, your 10th house of career, from March 30th until October 22nd. It's a preview. It's going to ingress fully in 2026. And Saturn is going to enter Aries between May 24th and September 1st, 2025, and also fully will ingress in 2026. But those two are even more focused on your career, right? So between March 30th and May 24th, only Neptune is there. And Neptune is confusing. Neptune is foggy and muddy and unclear. So will your confusion professionally increase at that time? Very likely, right? But when Saturn comes in on May 24th, it will encourage you to get things done, right? It's going to be the time when it's like, okay, enough with this lethargy and uncertainty. We are getting things started. And Saturn in Aries, it isn't its fall, but Aries is a masculine spring sign, so it's ready to get things done. Sometimes the problem with this sign is that you might take on too much. But similarly, I'm thinking with Neptune and Saturn, taking responsibility for your gifts, leaning into work that is altruistic, that is healing to other people, yoga, being a meditation teacher, a yoga teacher, doula, a guide for other people, all of that is quite lovely. Another important shift that happens from June 9th is that Jupiter enters your first house of identity, not quite money. But it is beneficial for money as well, because it's an exalted Jupiter. It's in the first house of you. It brings you new opportunities. It brings more expansion financially, because you are taking on a different role. You're maybe becoming a teacher, a guide, a guru. Very aligned with the eclipses in the 9th and Jupiter in the first house. Paying off debts, finding more independence, more freedom, feeling more confident, and welcoming new opportunities professionally and financially. Love this for you guys. June 24th, it's a Jupiter Cazimi, which is the sun, the ruler of your house of money, conjoining Jupiter. And then there's a new moon in your house of identity in Cancer on June 25th, and a new moon in the house of money on July 24th. So from June and July, things start to move forward. Saturn is kicking your butt. North Node is placed in the 9th house of education, travel, writing, publishing. There's a beautiful new beginning with Jupiter Cazimi. There's a new moon between August 25th and September 19th. Venus, the planet of beauty, is in your house of money as well. So things are moving. Just be careful between July 18th and August 11th. Mercury is retrograding in your 2nd house of money. It could be bringing back some of the themes from late December, January 2025, December 2024, but might not be the best time to make sort of financial leaps. Instead, a good time to review, rethink, and be more thoughtful about what you're spending on. Do reflect back on 2013, middle 2013 into middle 2014, when Jupiter was lost in Cancer. What got started in your life? What have you set off on? And also think about 2014, 2015 with Jupiter in your 2nd house of money, which is what's coming up in 2026. But we'll talk about that when we get there. I'm curious to hear your thoughts. If you're looking for more guidance, don't hesitate to book a reading at anastasiadoesastrology.com and pick up my Jupiter in Taurus candle to get yourself ready for the lovely financial abundant energy. This could be a lovely tool to help you as well throughout the more confusing parts of the year. For the lovely Leo rising, your 2nd house of money is Virgo, your 8th house. So 2nd house of personal money is Virgo. 8th house of partners' money and debts and loans and taxes is Pisces. And so, of course, can't talk about Pisces without mentioning Saturn. Saturn has been in your 8th house since March 7th, 2023. You may have felt kind of heavy and grounded by your debts. Some of you may have rediscovered you had debts you didn't know about. Partners going through a more difficult time financially. Maybe your promises and your engagements with other people, you may have felt the strong desire to break free, to separate, but not quite aware how to free yourself. So this theme continues in 2025. Saturn does leave Pisces for a few months between May 24th and September 1st. And so you may notice a shift in direction, a more of a fresh energy, and maybe some answers and some opportunities to clear debts and set yourself free and rethink your agreements. However, North Node is entering Pisces, your 8th house, and South Node is entering Virgo, your 2nd house, between January 12th, 2025 and July 26th, 2026. And we will be having eclipses in your 2nd house of personal resources and in your 8th house of partners, shared resources, debts, loans, and taxes. So this is a big period. It is similar to 2006, 2007, if you want to reflect and let me know what was happening in your life at that time, because we would have had the same type of eclipses. So what's interesting, we already had the first eclipse in September 17th, 2024, in your 8th house of these like engagements with other people. Did something change? Did you start a new partnership? Did you make a big investment? Maybe you've bought an apartment. Did you move in with your partner? Did something change in terms of your sharing and agreeing with other people? So this nodal shift, it's interesting because South Node will be in your 2nd house of personal resources. And South Node always has a sense of cleansing. And cleansing might happen because you quit your job or you get laid off. And then with North Node in the 8th house, you have to rely on your partner for support. So the dynamic changes. It might also shift because you're making a major investment. The draining in your personal resources because you're investing into a home, right? 8th house matters. Or you're being very serious about paying off your debt. So all of your money is just going away. It's going into the right cause, but it feels like you're just constantly sort of not having any money. So having to find a good balance, having to also maybe release some control. There's going to be a lunar eclipse in Virgo on March 14th, so be ready for perhaps some kind of financial shift around that time. What's interesting is that we're also getting a solar eclipse in Aries in March, on March 29th, and so the attention is drawn to your house of education, travel, publishing, and foreign lands. So maybe your financial shift is connected to moving to a faraway place, or investing in some kind of legal matter, or going back to school, right? Or just taking a lesser paying job because you are choosing, you're sort of focusing on growing in other ways. And then there's going to be a new moon in your house of money on August 23rd, and September 21st, a solar eclipse, a South Node solar eclipse in your second house of money. So it's new possibilities financially, but the South Node has a bit of a, you have to rethink the way you're doing things. So letting go of control, letting go of perfectionism, letting go of some resources, right? Your second house is Virgo. You're very organized when it comes to money. You're maybe into having a budget and plan and structure. And so South Node being here might suggest that sometimes the structure doesn't cut it. And sometimes with that, North Node and another eclipse in Pisces on September 7th, you are encouraged to learn to trust. You are encouraged to release of some kind of analysis paralysis. And so major developments when it comes to joining forces, even getting engaged, getting married, where you are entering a partnership that is most vulnerable on some level, right, is quite a possibility here. So other things worth mentioning: Mercury, the ruler of your second house of money, will be retrograde 3 times this year, between March 15th and April 7th, from Aries into Pisces, from your 9th into the 8th. Also feels like dealing with debts, renegotiating agreements, maybe applying for scholarships or paying off your student loan debt, having important conversations about beliefs, ideology, and spendings. You believe that when you're pregnant, your partner needs to be able to handle all of the finances, but they believe that as long as you can work, you can still pay for something. So having to negotiate and find better solutions. Between July 18th and August 11th, there is a Mercury retrograde in Leo in your first house of identity. Brand image, and maybe you are rebranding your business, rethinking your goals, rediscovering your skills and gifts, and reflecting back on what's important to you. And financially, maybe also having some kind of, having to rethink something. And then between November 9th and November 29th, Mercury retrogrades from Sagittarius, your 5th house, to Scorpio, your 4th house. And your finances might be going towards home, family at this time. Maybe there are some matters involving children that are requiring you to spend money. Maybe you're moving or opening up your home, so set some money aside for that. Saturn moves out, goes into Aries between May 24th, September 1st, which is still that energy of spending or focusing on education, travel, legal matters. I don't necessarily see it connected to finances. Jupiter is in your 11th house between May 25th, 2024 and June 9th, 2025. So the first 5 months of the year. And there's also a Mercury-Jupiter conjunction on June 8th. And Mercury rules your house of money. And Jupiter, interestingly enough, rules your house of partners' money, right? So June 8th is interesting because of that Mercury-Jupiter conjunction. So once again, some kind of opportunity to join resources with a partner, start a partnership, maybe get opportunity to write, publish, study. But be very thoughtful and negotiate things and read through the details, because Jupiter is in its detriment in Gemini until June 9th. So you want to be careful that you're not saying yes to too many things or agreeing to things you don't fully believe in. And also, until June 9th, Jupiter in the 11th house suggests blessings through social media, gains through your network, maybe financial sort of growth through your colleagues, through your career, through YouTube, social media, more like recognition through those things. And then what's exciting is Jupiter, the ruler of your 8th house of partners, money, and support of other people, insurance, taxes, debts, loans, enters Cancer, the sign of its exaltation, on June 9th, 2025, and will stay here until June 30th, 2026. And so this is an instant boost to your partner's finances, especially if they have been dealing with a more difficult time or have been a little bit more stern and more sort of protective of their wealth. Maybe they're just dealt with like heavy choices, heavy decisions that were putting stress and pressure on them and their financial decisions. But it could suggest that your partner's finances improve. It can also suggest that you're making money through your imagination. Your partner might be traveling more and making money through spirituality, through creative, imaginative work, healing work. But it's an interesting positive transit for sure, especially when it comes to like resources coming from other people. Yeah, and if you think that Jupiter goes into Cancer on June 9th and Saturn has just left your 8th house on May 24th, June 9th until September 1st is especially lucky time, I think, financially for you guys. Please share how this resonates. Pick up my Jupiter and Taurus candle at anastasiadoesastrology.com. It's perfect for you because it falls in your 10th house of career. And if you're looking for more guidance, book a reading at anastasiadoesastrology.com. My year ahead consultations are currently discounted. You can also get a natal chart or relationship reading to find out about your compatibility and how to make your relationship better. For the lovely Virgo rising, early in the year, there's a lot of focus on sharing and partnerships. Jupiter, the ruler of your house of relationships, is in the 10th house of career. So it's like career depends on partnerships and agreements with other people. Saturn is in the 7th house of relationships. Uranus comes into your 10th house of career and, on July 7th. And then Pluto, yeah, it's like career and partnerships are very intertwined in 2025. Pluto is in your 6th house and you're working through shadows. You're maybe realizing what is not quite fulfilling when it comes to your career. So you're adjusting. And then with the eclipses will start happening in your 1st house as North Node enters 7th house and South Node enters Virgo. I can definitely see a professional shift for many of you guys. And take a look back at 2006, 2007 to see whether you have noticed it happening already. In 2006, 2007, because we would have had the same eclipse series happening around then. So the first eclipse we get in Virgo is happening on March 14th, and you're potentially letting go of an old version of yourself. You're maybe cleansing your body, your mind, your goals, and getting yourself ready for new beginnings. We also get a solar eclipse in Aries, the final solar eclipse in Aries, your 8th house, on March 29th. It coincides with Venus retrograde from March 1st until April 12th between your 8th and 7th houses, and Mercury's retrograding around the same time between your 8th and 7th houses. And so in March, there is a lot of focus on your sharing and your agreements with other people. And it's a culmination of a longer story because we started having Aries eclipses in April 2022, and this is the last one. So how has your give and take dynamics changed? Have you discovered more self-understanding? Have you found opportunities to speak up and to be more assertive in your partnerships? Have you had any opportunities to disengage from unhealthy dynamics, maybe professionally, maybe financially? Maybe you've paid some debts and cleared out your sort of karma, right? And so early in the year, with that retrograde of Venus, the ruler of your second house of money, in the 8th and 7th houses, you are continuing to do that. Maybe there's finishing negotiations you need to make. Maybe you need to complete some kind of project that you're working on with someone. Maybe you're finishing up a partnership that you've started. But the solar eclipse on March 29th is very much another opportunity to say things that need to be said, to figure out what is right for you, because with eclipses happening in Pisces in September 2024, we had one, and then there's another lunar eclipse coming up in Pisces on September 7th. With the eclipses happening in Pisces and with Saturn being in Pisces, there's a lot of focus on other people. And so as you're starting new partnerships and you're expanding your resources and you're welcoming new people into your life, you really need to be clear on what you can and you cannot deal with. And so the solar eclipse in Aries on March 29th is an opportunity to... It's interesting because literally it even feels like maybe you need to sign a prenup. I'm going to put it out there. But maybe you're starting a new partnership and you have this potential influx of money, maybe from writing, maybe from teaching. You know, Jupiter is also about to shift into your 11th house, which is all about partnerships and community. But what's about to happen is, like, we have the solar eclipse in the 8th house of partners, money, debts, loans, taxes on March 29th. And then on March 30th, Neptune enters your 8th house. And then on May 24th, Saturn enters your 8th house. So yes, great, exciting new partnerships. But Neptune being here makes your partner's finances and your agreements with your partner a little bit foggy. And then Saturn entering means that there might be an increase in your financial responsibility, that you are sort of tying yourself, or you're feeling tied to someone, or you're dealing with some kind of debts and they feel heavy. So if you are signing a contract, if you are starting a new relationship, be very careful in terms of who you connect yourself with, right? Do sign a prenup if you stand a lot to lose in a relationship. Things might feel rosy and beautiful right now, but you never know. Why not protect yourself? So Neptune can create a sense of confusion. Neptune, this year, it's only in your 8th house from March 30th until October 22nd, but then in 2026 it ingresses for much longer. And then Saturn is in your 8th house from May 24th until September 1st. Similarly, in 2026 it ingresses for 3 years. So you are going to be dealing with some kind of a relationship, partnership, negotiating type matter. I'm also wondering if for some of you it might mean that your partner might be going through a bit heavier, difficult time financially, and so you're having to be the sole provider, or be ready, prepare your relationship for that. Yeah, it could be something that requires you to, think deeply about it. Also, at the start of the year, Mars is retrograding from your 12th house into your 11th house, from Cancer into Leo, from your 11th into, I'm like, where is Cancer? Yeah, from Leo into Cancer, from your 12th into 11th. I did say it correctly. And Mars rules the house of partners, money. So early in the year, the partner might be going through some kind of difficult time. And if they are, just be ready that something like that might be coming back around. Okay, so what other things we can mention here? Your second house is Libra, so it's ruled by Venus. At the start of the year, January 2nd, February 4th, Venus is in Pisces, 7th house, once again making money through partnerships. North Node enters. Maybe you're like getting married. I can definitely see you getting married and like benefiting through the partner, but Saturn immediately going into the 8th house just reads as like, maybe you're benefiting, but you're immediately buying a home, and so the resources are tight. So you really need to be thoughtful. Venus is retrograde from March 1st until April 12th. She's moving from your 8th into 7th. Similar topics, having to be clear on what you want, having to negotiate, renegotiate agreements, figure things out. We talked about Neptune, we talked about Saturn. There's a full moon in your second house of money, which could suggest some kind of completion on April 12th. And then there is a new moon in Libra. Okay, there it is. I have so many notes. There is a new moon in Libra on October 21st, which coincides with Venus in Libra from October 13th until November 6th. So that is potentially the more constructive, financially lucrative, successful time, great time to make money through your creative pursuits and lean into your, charm, diplomacy, writing, gifts and talents, and things like that. Please share how this resonates. If you're looking for more guidance, book a reading at anastasiadoesastrology.com. My year ahead readings are currently discounted, and pick up my Jupiter in Taurus candle. It is perfect for creating abundance, manifesting your dreams, and bringing that cash into your life. For the lovely Libra rising, 2025 brings new professional and personal commitments. Early in the year, there is a review. Your second house is Scorpio. Your 8th house is Libra. Second house is your money. 8th house is partner's money. Second house is Scorpio. 8th house is Taurus. Second house is your money. 8th house is partner's money. So Mars ruling your second house of Scorpio, Mars is retrograde at the start of the year. It travels from Leo, your 11th house, into Cancer, your 10th house, between December 6, 2024 and February 23rd, 2025. So a shift is going on in terms of your strategy. Let's say you're on social media, your social media strategy, your network, you are rethinking kind of who's your audience, you are rethinking who's in your corner, who's your support system. You're maybe, if your business, if your job requires you to work with other people, there might be a little bit of like people kind of falling off, or you dealing with some delays, some turnarounds, right? You've agreed to work with someone and then they disappear. And so financially, there might also be a little bit of uncertainty early in the year because the retrograde is moving from 11th into the 10th. So you're quite likely questioning things, right? The North Node shifts into Pisces. Your 6th house and South Node is going into Virgo, your 12th house, which both of those are houses of work. And we will start to have eclipses between January 12th, 2025 and July 26th, 2026. As the nodes are in Virgo and Pisces, we'll have eclipses in your 6th and 12th houses. And North Node being in the 6th definitely draws attention to the labors that you're involved in, and you're questioning what is worth your blood, sweat, and tears, very much so. And so early in the year, this sort of questioning energy, it continues throughout the year, I think, with the eclipses. But there are things to look forward to, for sure. But let's get back to Mars for a second. So with Mars retrograding at the start of the year, you are questioning things. Venus also goes retrograde between March 1st and April 12th. And Venus rules your partner's money. And so Venus retrograding from Aries into Pisces, from your 7th into the 6th, means that not only you're questioning your finances, but your partners may be questioning things. So if of course you are together, maybe you're moving in, maybe you're looking for a place, maybe you're moving to a different city, and so the financial shifts are connected to that. So be kind of thoughtful and watch out for making major investments in the first 4 months of the year, just because it's retrogrades back to back. Mars does go direct on February 23rd, and it is still in Cancer until April 18th. And so the professional delays you would have faced might start to move forward. And by April, things do get better. Mars enters Leo, your 11th house. So between April 18th and June 17th, there is a lot of focus on relationships with other people. And so you're maybe benefiting through your connections, getting more results coming from your network, financial opportunities, more clients coming from your network. There's also a full moon in your second house of money in May, which may bring a major payment, culmination of some sort, some kind of release and end of a project. And then June is a big month. In June, Jupiter enters Cancer, your 10th house. So June 9th, Jupiter enters Cancer. And until June 9th, Jupiter has been in Gemini in your 9th house. And so a lot of focus could have been on you gathering resources, on you learning new things, expanding your reach, right? Jupiter in the 9th, Saturn in the 6th, ruled by Jupiter in the 9th, working a lot on figuring out what's worth your energy still, maybe taking on new skills, kind of questioning what your goals are. And so as Jupiter enters Cancer on June 9th, 2025, and will stay here until June 30th, 2026, you are getting lovely professional opportunities and breakthroughs. You are narrowing down your focus after the last year or so of questioning things, and you are beginning to invest a lot into your career with new opportunities, with maybe work that is healing, work that is soothing, work that feeds other people. For some of you, it might be opening a restaurant. For others, it might be becoming a teacher, becoming a nurse, becoming a realtor, or opening an Airbnb, right? It's Jupiter here is quite lovely. There might be a bit of taxes or responsibilities connected to partnerships, or maybe money that is being directed into partnerships that is limiting your flow a little bit, but overall it's a very positive transit. I love, and think of it as just like new beginnings professionally. Take a look back at 2013 when we had Jupiter in Cancer previously, so from the middle of 2013 into the middle of 2014. Immediately on June 24th, there is a Jupiter Cazimi, the Sun-Jupiter conjunction. On June 25th, there is a fertile, abundant, beautiful new moon in your house of career. And Venus is also in Cancer, co-present with Jupiter between July 30th and August 25th. And of course, Mars is making aspects to Jupiter as well. Mars is in Virgo, your 12th house, between June 17th and August 6th. And it's sextiling Jupiter on June 22nd, 5 days before, 5 days after. So here you have Mars so between like June, July, you're working on something behind the scenes. You are investing into imagination, spiritual healing work. You're maybe traveling or teaching, healing people for work, and you're making money from that. There is like a positive professional and financial attunement between the ruler of your house of money and Jupiter in the house of career. So like you're making money through these creative healing aspects. Mars is in Libra between August 6th and September 22nd, and you are very actively taking action, maybe dealing with a little bit of frustration. Mars will be in detriment in Libra as you try to go ahead on some projects, but you have to deal with a lot of social dynamics and people not always agreeing, and you have to be this diplomat, and maybe you're feeling a little bit frustrated about that. I love that Mars is in Scorpio between September 22nd and November 4th. This is Mars, the ruler of your house of money, in the house of money, very strong, very strategic. This could be the period when you make the most, when you're most focused, most successful. I have my Mars Cazimi candle going for it. Always sort of both boosts my energy, but also I feel like that's why I maybe talk extra fast in this video. Boosts my energy, and it's also, as a Libra rising, I think crucial for financial abundance. So Mars in Scorpio will trine Jupiter on October 28th, and this is very lucky So in late October, early November, you can see gains through professional pursuits, through teaching, healing, guiding people. Jupiter also rules your 6th house of hard work, and it rules your 3rd house of business. So seeing hard work and labors of love pay off is quite lovely. And then Venus is also in Scorpio between November 6th and November 30th. And there's a new moon in Scorpio on November 20th. And also Mercury retrograde between November 9th and November 29th from Sagittarius into Scorpio. So new beginnings professionally, new beginnings financially that come out of some kind of revision. You're maybe changing your schedule. You're maybe having to renegotiate some agreements. You're maybe having to network more actively or bring in some support into your business. So having to deal with the logistics, and perhaps that can also cost you some money at the end of the year. So put some money aside, be careful, do not have like a separate chunk of cash for your finances at the end of the year, because the retrograde from November 9th until November 29th can definitely bring sudden expenses. Please share how this resonates. If you're looking for more guidance, book a reading at anastasiadoesastrology.com. My year ahead consultations are currently discounted. You can also book a natal chart or a relationship reading and pick up my Jupiter in Taurus candle. It falls in your 8th house of other people's money. It can bring you increase in commission, in financial support from your partner, and other kind of monetary rewards. Check it out, anastasiadoesastrology.com. For the beautiful Scorpio rising, 2025 starts off with a bit of a review. Mars is retrograding from your 10th house of career into your 9th house of education, travel, writing, and publishing between December 6th and February 23rd. And so you are dealing with a bit of a revision professionally. You're maybe figuring out a new job for yourself. You're maybe questioning the direction your career is taking. You're maybe needing to go back to school and take some classes or pass some exams, and so you're studying for those. You're maybe also dealing with some kind of disagreements and misunderstandings professionally, as Mars is retrograding in your 10th house and opposing Pluto in the 4th house. There's a bit of power struggles type energy. So this does start to change and shift once Mars goes direct on February 23rd. And then when Mars is direct in Leo again between April 18th and June 17th, you have more of a forward momentum, more clarity, more purposefulness to you. It might be the time when you're taking action, starting a business, asserting yourself, pioneering new projects, and exploring sort of new chapters in your career. There's also a new moon in Leo on July 24th, which can also be symbolic of important new beginnings in your career. So your 2nd house is Sagittarius. It is Jupiter ruled, and your 8th house is Gemini, Mercury ruled. And what's interesting is the first six months, 5.5 months of the year, Jupiter is in your 8th house. So the ruler of your money is in the house of partners' money. And so it means that you're very dependent on people in your life initially, because maybe maybe you're currently not working and your partner is taking care of you. Maybe you just started a partnership with someone and your finances are depending on how much effort the other person puts in. So maybe you're figuring it out. And Jupiter is in its detriment in Gemini, so until June 9th, there might be a little bit of confusion, a little bit of needing to compromise, sacrifice, negotiate. Things may feel a little bit, it's expanding your resources, but it can also bring more spendings. It might mean that you've started something, but in the process you have to pay. I highly recommend my Jupiter in Taurus candle for you guys, because this is Jupiter in the sign of abundance, stability, financial gains of Taurus, co-present with Venus in Taurus, stronger than Jupiter in Gemini, and it falls in your 7th house of relationships, so it could be lovely. But yeah, early in the year, there is a strong sort of connection between your money and the partner's money, because the ruler of your house of money is in the house of other people. It can also mean that you are working on some kind of project and relying very heavily on the commission, or you're getting like a small business loan or something. It just means that you're very like tied to the support of other people. Uranus will also enter Gemini this year between July 7th and November 7th, giving us a preview of what's to come as it goes into Gemini more permanently in April 2026 for the next 6 years. And so Uranus entering your 8th house could be exciting because on some level it could indicate that you're starting new partnerships that are futuristic, that are scientific, that offer you a chance to be kind of creative, right? And maybe like exciting sort of new opportunities and new partnerships with quirky people working with aliens. But on the other hand, because this is the house of other people's resources, it might, and partners' money, it might suggest a bit more turbulence in there. Maybe your partner is going through ups and downs financially. Maybe you're working with someone and you notice that their attitude towards you and their generosity shifts on a whim. Like sometimes they're more giving, sometimes they're not. You also become a lot more independent when it comes to finances, right? You may realize that it's great to be married, but you want to have your own bank account. So having to figure out questions around like dependencies and having to deal with maybe a little bit less of stability when it comes to partners' money definitely encourages you to figure out better sort of terms of relating. And so this year, pay attention to that between July 7th and November 7th. I love the fact that Jupiter, the ruler of your 2nd house of money, enters the sign of its exaltation on June 9th and will stay in the sign of its exaltation until June 30th, 2026. So for a year and 3 weeks. And so the ruler of the house of money gaining in strength is positive already, right? It's the ruler of the house of money in the 9th house. So money coming through education. Maybe you're teaching. Maybe you are assistant teaching. Maybe you're managing students at the university, right? Working for an education type of agency or working for a university is likely. Maybe you are traveling. Maybe you're becoming a guide, a guru. Maybe you're writing. So like publishing your work, money coming to you through both like expanding your knowledge and sharing your knowledge are quite likely here. At the same time, we also have Saturn and Neptune both shifting into your 6th house. So in 2023, 2024, we've had a lot of attention on your 6th and 12th houses. And we've had eclipses in Aries and Libra. And we have the final solar eclipse in Aries on March 29th, which does mean that your career has changed quite significantly. And with the final solar eclipse in Aries on March 29th, as Mercury is retrograding from your 6th into the 5th, as Venus is retrograding from the 6th into the 5th, and as Neptune is gearing up to enter your 6th house, and so does Saturn, there are big shifts professionally. So the eclipse could signify letting go of an old job. It could signify starting a new job, maybe a new job that requires you to go back to an old place of employment. It's like new, but with an old flavor because of the retrogrades. And then Neptune goes into Aries, your 6th house, between March 30th and October 24th, I believe. And so it suggests that you are maybe dealing with some kind of October 22nd, 2025. Maybe you're dealing with some kind of professional confusion, a little bit of uncertainty. And then Saturn comes in on May 24th until September 1st. So this year it's like short intro, and then in 2026 they ingress for good, for long. But Saturn in the 6th might also suggest that you are suddenly there's more workload. It could be at your job, it could be with your family and the job, but it may feel like you're putting a lot of effort in and maybe not getting really, really big results, because Jupiter, the ruler of the house of money, will be squaring Saturn in the 6th house in early June, July. So Be ready to set better boundaries. Watch out for overloading yourself. Get your priorities straight in terms of what's worth sweating over, what's worth committing to, and what's not. At the end of the year, between November 9th and 29th, Mercury is retrograding from your second house of money into the first, and there might be some sudden spending, some insurance payments or debts that you need to take care of. I would not recommend you spend a lot of money during the retrograde. Try to be more cautious. Venus is in Sagittarius between November 30th and December 24th, and there's a new moon here. So end of the year feels quite lucrative, abundant, supportive, as maybe you're starting new projects, potentially new partnerships with people, signing contracts, investing into beauty, into art, into relationships, working with women, and experiencing sort of gains, right? The new moon in the house of money, ruled by Jupiter exalted in the 9th house. Very opportune in terms of spending on education, but also gaining through your connections, through your mentors, through your knowledge as well. Please share how this resonates. If you're looking for more guidance, book a reading at anastasiadoesastrology.com. My year ahead consultations are currently discounted, and you can also pick up a natal or a relationship reading on there. And definitely get some of my creations, 2025 planner or my Jupiter and Taurus candle. Highly, highly recommend both of these. If you are a Sagittarius rising, I see this as a year you gain through your partnerships. The year your connections bring you money and your partner, your spouse, is very rich and wealthy, or at least they experience an improvement in their finances. So your second house is Capricorn. Pluto has finally left Capricorn in 2024, which should also be a sign of things stabilizing financially. Your 8th house of partners' money is Cancer. So early in the year, there is some adjustment and maybe some uncertainty and some even conflicts around money, as Mars is retrograding from your 9th into the 8th houses, from Leo into Cancer. You're maybe trying to pay off a debt, maybe a mortgage or some kind of insurance payment, or even realizing that you have a really big tax bill, something that is affecting your finances. You're maybe paying off student loans or trying to figure out how to spend and how to share bills and rent and other payments with your significant other. There's a full moon in Cancer, your 8th house, on January 13th, and so a readjustment is in order, right? Maybe you're also negotiating contract you have at work so that you can have a more fair agreement. There is a sense of tiredness, potentially, a sense of you've been very loyal maybe to a relationship, to a connection, to a business partnership, to a professional partnership, and you are feeling ready for a shift. You're feeling ready to make things more fair, right? And similarly, paying off a debt, closing some kind of dependency, paying off taxes is all quite likely. I love that Jupiter is going to enter your 8th house. So at the start of the year until June 9th, Jupiter, your chart ruler, is in the 7th house of relationships, and you're very partnership driven. Your relationship is growing, your partner is maybe feeling good about themselves, and you're very connected to them. You're focused on improving the relationship. You're focused on, even honestly, the first half of the year, business partnerships can be going quite well. It's like, I'm talking about a romantic relationship, but it can also be a business partnership. But you are in this conception stage of something new. And then from June 9th, 2025 until June 30th, Jupiter, your chart ruler, will be in the house of partners' money. And not only it's going to be there, but it's also going to be exalted. So resources coming from other people, student loan forgiveness, inheritance, partner getting an inheritance and you benefiting, higher tax return, right, between June 2025 and June 2026, return of debts if somebody owes to you, clients paying you extra, higher commission. Really lovely, especially June 24th, 25th, as we get on the 24th of June, there's a Jupiter Cazimi. Then on the heels of that, there's a new moon in Cancer. Very great for starting partnerships, reaching out to people, signing contracts, anything like that. And please reflect on 2013 when Jupiter was lost in Cancer. So from like middle 2013 until middle 2014, because you are once again in this similar cycle that could be equally benevolent and abundant. All of that also bodes well for your partner. If you're married, if you're in a relationship, Jupiter coming into the 8th house could suggest that they're getting a raise, they're getting a higher paid job, they're getting an inheritance or bonus of some sort, and you benefit through that because it's also the planet that rules your chart. We have the full moon in Capricorn, your second house of money, on July 10th, which means that you're maybe paying off some kind of debt or getting a reward, getting a bonus, getting recognition. Maybe also letting go of a job that doesn't make you happy because now your partner is making all the money. Venus is in Cancer, co-present with Jupiter between July 30th and August 25th. And, you know, that's also on the heels of the new moon we had on June 25th. So Venus in Cancer she's like emphasizing this energy even more gains. She conjoins Jupiter on August 12th. And then at the end of the year, you also have a lovely Venus in Capricorn between December 24th and January 17th. And that is a benefit for your personal finances. We have an interesting car next to us, the one that's like cement spinning car. I don't know what those are called. All throughout the year, there is a lot of positive energy in your house of home, family, and living situation. Specifically, I guess important major energy in the house of home, family, and living situation, and the house of career. We have Saturn in the 4th house, and then North Node and eclipses start happening in your 4th and 10th houses. So this brings a lot of attention to home, family, living situation. It also encourages you to start a family, to get pregnant, to maybe move with your significant other, while your house of career is actually getting a sense of release, cleansing. And so professionally, you're in for an adjustment, and you're maybe even in for a shift in directions. You're maybe realizing once again that you want to work less, that you want to have more fair agreements, where you've carried your relationship for a while, you've worked really hard, and now it's the time for your partner to do it. So be ready for professional changes in March. We get the lunar eclipse in Virgo on March 14th. And then August and September, there's a new moon in Virgo and a solar eclipse in Virgo. All the while, there is also a lunar eclipse on September 7th in Pisces, your 4th house. So a lot of attention, a lot of gains through the home, family, once again, partnerships. Like I said, you know, the gains through partnerships type of year. And it's also important to mention that Pluto is in your 3rd house all year. It ingressed in 2024, and so it's calling you to develop your skills, to develop your knowledge, and to find topics that are worth speaking about, that are worth writing about. And so maybe you're adjusting your career to working from home, to working a little less, to writing, to exploring your interests, blogging, and things like that. Please share how this resonates. Do you remember 2013, 14? Even look back at 2006, 2007, which is when we had the same eclipse series. Highly recommend my Fire of Aries candle for you guys, because it captures lucky Jupiter conjunct the moon in the sign of Aries. Very energetic, trining your ascendant. It could be beautiful for finding inspiration, courage, and good luck. Check out my website for that. And on my website, you can also book a reading and find out what the year ahead has in store for you. AnastasiaDoesAstrology.com. My year ahead readings are actually currently discounted, so it's a great time to pick one up until the end of January. For the beautiful Capricorn rising, your second house is Aquarius, Saturn ruled, and your 8th house is Leo, Sun ruled. So speaking of Aquarius, right, the second house of money, Pluto has entered Aquarius in late 2024, and it will stay here until 2043, so 20 years. Pluto in the second house suggests a death in rebirth in your financial life. First of all, it makes you more aware of the fears you have, of the lack mentality, of maybe the thoughts you think and the restrictive patterns you have in life, where your fearful attitude maybe prevents you from taking risks and from exploring outside of your comfort zone. And then Pluto slowly and surely works to increase your confidence and self-worth and to encourage you to take action, right? And to take risks. You may notice this year, especially because it's a full year of Pluto in Aquarius, that you are becoming more interested in research and you're looking into, like scientific, futuristic, green energy, financial, like future-oriented investments. And so you're maybe slowly starting to explore it and making those investments. It is a good time to trust your intuition and to trust that you know where to invest and what the right place to be. But of course, do your research. It might also be a sign that your career is transforming, that you're opening yourself up to work that is more honest, that is more healing, that is more transformative. Sort of like, I think of Pluto and I think of like mining, right? Underground. So you're mining your knowledge and environment around you for tokens of information to know what to invest into, and you're also mining your knowledge. I think I've said that, but you're also mining, maybe literally, maybe you're like digging into human psyche and helping them heal and giving financial advice. You're also likely becoming a lot more private when it comes to finances. A couple of important dates here. On January 29th, we have a new moon in Aquarius, your second house, which symbolizes new beginnings. The ruler is Saturn in the third, and Saturn has been in your third house, which is also symbolic of you having to explore new skills, having to learn new topics, maybe become more technologically savvy, maybe also commit to new type of technology, to new type of software as so the new moon in Aquarius might be connected to you making money through your skills, but also maybe investing into upgrading your business, upgrading your software. And it also, once again, it makes me think, the ruler of the new moon being Saturn in Pisces in the third, it makes me think of like you needing to think happier thoughts, right? It's a weird thing to say, but it's so true, because as a Capricorn, you are very familiar with the Saturnine attitudes, right? Like you can be hardworking, you can be strategic, you can see the limitations, but it's almost like, can you also see possibilities? And with the eclipses starting to shift into North Node entering Pisces, it's again like dare to dream, right? Dare to see the possibilities, dare to believe, and then it might happen, especially with Jupiter entering Cancer. And then we also have that new moon, the new beginnings in late January. We get the full moon in Aquarius, your second house, on August 9th. So whatever you get started in the beginning of the year comes full circle in August. Your 8th house is Leo, so it's the sun ruled, and there is a full moon here on February 12th, which can bring a payment of a debt, maybe completion of some kind of partnership, resources coming through other people, a tax return that you've been expecting. There is also a new moon in Leo on July 24th, which is a sign of new partnership, a new debt as you get a loan to help your business perhaps, or you start a relationship professional with someone. And then Venus in Leo between August 25th and September 19th can actually be quite lucrative and supportive and suggest resources coming to you through other people. So we talked about Saturn, we talked about eclipses in your third house. Eclipses, there's going to be, we've had a lunar eclipse in Pisces on September 17th, and there's another one on September 7th, 2025. Did you notice anything changing in terms of your schedule, your everyday life, your interests, your talents, your professional commitments in September 2024? Because that story continues. And similarly, thinking happier thoughts, committing to your skills, taking the knowledge you've acquired and turning it into a business, starting to guide, teach, mentor other people. A lot of action is in your sixth house of work, so this year it can be quite busy. Jupiter is in your sixth house until June 9th, and you're working really hard. It is trining your second house of money, so I think there are some positive resources. You just need to make sure you're not like overloading yourself. And then Uranus also enters your sixth house of work, health, and service on July 7th until November 7th. It's a preview of a longer transit that begins in April 2026. And so similarly, new ideas, new maybe opportunities to be independent, opportunities to take risks, to bring your love for science, your love for technology, starting an unconventional job, something that is, your parents wouldn't know what it was, right? You're becoming more progressive. You're starting to work for yourself. You're starting to work part-time. You're becoming more inventive. Really beautiful, beautiful energy. And I also quite like the fact that Jupiter enters Cancer, the sign of its exaltation, on June 9th in your house of partnerships. So you may notice that joining forces with other people proves successful. It's great for your business. It's great for finding clients. It's great for partnerships of all kinds around this time. You may notice that a plumber is the best plumber, that your accountant is doing a better job, that your clients are extra generous with you and they're sending their family members to you. Seventh house is business. Jupiter and in Cancer is all about family. So growing through family, familial type nurturance and connections is quite likely here. Watch out for some potentially difficult energy and responsibilities around home, family, real estate. It could be kind of, taking your money up as Saturn dips into your fourth house this year between May 24th and September 1st. So there might be a more kind of, your living situation might require some kind of spendings. Maybe you're doing a renovation project, maybe you're changing things up, and so you need to invest some money there. Please share how this resonates. If you're looking for more guidance, book a reading at anastasiadoesastrology.com. My year ahead readings are currently discounted. Save $20 on the in-person consultation or $40 on the recorded reading in the link in my bio. And do pick up my Jupiter in Taurus candle. It's powerful for manifestation, for creating abundance and financial success. Everything at anastasiadoesastrology.com. If you are an Aquarius rising, early on in the beginning of the year, there is potentially some delays professionally and financially. The ruler of your 10th house is Scorpio. The ruler is Mars. Mars is retrograding from Leo, your 7th house, into Cancer, your 6th house, between December 6th and February 23rd. So you're rethinking agreements. You're maybe renegotiating contracts, rethinking your workload, rethinking your commitments, and maybe dealing with some stagnation or some frustration. Actually, financially, maybe your finances are not as affected at the start of the year because your second house is Pisces. And so Venus is in Pisces between January 2nd and February 4th, and she's direct and she's exalted in Pisces. And the North Node also enters Pisces on January 12th or January 11th, and will stay here for a year and a half. So there's a lot of focus and a lot of attention this year on your personal independence, on new ideas, on maybe creative, imaginative, healing type of avenues. And revenue streams. Of course, we gotta think of Saturn still being in your second house. You've heard me talk about it again and again because it's a long-term transit. Saturn went into your second house of money in March 2023. This year, on May 24th, it leaves for a few months, but it comes back on September 1st. So between May 24th and September 1st, you get this nice little break. And that might actually be the time when your finances start to feel significantly better, if you're struggling at all. But you might be, you might be struggling because you're paying off a debt, you're maybe paying off a mortgage, you're maybe somehow involved with like helping your family. So in general, I think Saturn being in Pisces does limit your finances a little bit, but it's not necessarily that there are no money going around. But at the start of the year, Venus is here. North Node enters Pisces and brings new opportunities. Yeah, and we're gonna have eclipses, and North Node being in Pisces for the full year and a half it is going on January 12th. I don't know why I have 11th. I have 11th and 12th. It goes into Pisces pretty early. So North Node will be in your second house of money. South Node will be in your 8th house of other people's resources, debts, loans, taxes, inheritance. And so you are experiencing this shift where you are kind of clearing out any debts. There is a lunar eclipse in Virgo on March 14th. There's a new moon in Virgo on August 23rd and a solar eclipse in Virgo on September 21st. So all the time your house of debts is active. And South Node brings release. South Node brings cleansing. So paying off debts, paying off student loans, insurance payments. There might be taxes that you owe that you're handling. It can also suggest that there's going on a shift between you and your partner where you're starting to make more maybe, or you're starting to be more financially secure, versus South Node in the 8th house might bring a bit more uncertainty into their finances, a bit more ups and downs, especially around those eclipses. And so there's going to be a lunar eclipse in Pisces on September 7th. It is similar to September 17th, 2024 eclipse in Pisces. And this energy in general is similar to 2006, 2007. So take a look back, reflect on what kind of changes were happening between your personal finances, whether you've experienced any gains and more stability, and if there were any changes in terms of your reliance on other people. So a big shift between depending on other people, waiting for them to pay you, waiting for them to approve of you, relying on them for whatever reason, and becoming more financially independent. And so, so definitely pay attention. There's a new moon in Pisces on February 27th, which is a sign of new beginnings. Venus is in Pisces for a while, actually. She's in Pisces between January 2nd and February 4th, and then again from March 27th until April 30th. So Venus goes retrograde in Pisces. She actually is retrograding from Aries into Pisces between March 1st and April 12th. And so as she's retrograding, she's moving from your 3rd into your 2nd. And so does Mercury. And then we also have on March 29th, we have the final eclipse in Aries in your 3rd house. And this feels like you are reviewing your skills, you are reviewing your schedule, you are reviewing your technology, your car, your knowledge. I may have said that already, but you're wondering what is worth and what is not worth keeping, what is worth and what is not worth investing into. And so the final eclipse on March 29th in Aries also feels like maybe you are committing to some kind of project, you're committing to some kind of goal. It could be a writing project, it could be a business idea, it could be a skill that you have, and then as Venus is retrograding and so does Mercury from Aries into Pisces, you're starting to ask, okay, how do I need to invest into it? How can I make more money from it? So it's a very literal connection between your interests and your finances and your values. And so this reset between March 1st and April 12th is potentially a time of a little bit of like financial confusion. Mercury, like I said, is also retrograde, so it's not the best time to make important decisions, but it could be quite significant in terms of figuring out what is worth spending, what is worth investing into. And you may actually also be getting payments at this time from something from the past, like if you've been waiting for a payment that hasn't been coming. So, okay, so other important things, like I said, Saturn begins to leave your second house. So between May 24th and September 1st, there is a more positive energy when it comes to finances. Jupiter also leaves the sign of its detriment and enters Cancer, your sixth house, on June 9th, 2025, and stays here until June 30th, 2026. So until June 9th, you got to think that for a full year, between late May and June 9th, 2025, Jupiter, the ruler of your house of money, has been in Gemini, the fifth house. However, it has been in detriment in Gemini. And so you may have been feeling like you wanted to make money through creative pursuits, like you wanted to maybe invest your energy into art, into parenthood, into spending time with children, but you could have lacked focus because Jupiter in Gemini is very curious and quirky and fun, but it's not as like focused or optimistic. That's why I highly recommend my Jupiter in Taurus candle. We still have this Jupiter in Gemini until June 9th, so you might enjoy this and find that it helps you manifest things and be more focused and create abundance. Find it on my website. But Jupiter, the ruler of the house of money, being in detriment is not a great sign for your money, right? That could be like an overall sense of like maybe money's coming, but it's also going. Maybe you're unable to hold on to it. Maybe you're just doing work that pays the bills, but it doesn't bring you a sense of happiness. And so from June 9th, 2025, for a full year, Jupiter will be exalted in your sixth house of work, health, and service. And so this is beautiful financially. I think this is very much worth noting because it suggests there might be a new job, there might be a busier schedule, maybe there's more responsibilities, more duties, more meetings you're going to, more emails, notifications, but you don't mind because you are passionately involved in what you're doing. It can also mean that you will be working with family for a year, or you will be working with family members or on a family business, or you're really feeling like your colleagues are like your family, and so it feels a lot better. And so financially, this I think will be a very rewarding time, but you need to be careful that you don't overload yourself and push yourself too much, and maybe be ready for a little bit of like compromises and sacrifices, because as Jupiter enters Cancer in early June, it immediately squares Saturn in your third house, requiring for some compromises. But June 24th, there's a Jupiter Cazimi. June 25th, there's a new moon, new beginnings in your professional life. August 12th, Venus conjoins Jupiter, so there's a lot of beautiful and exciting opportunities. I hope you enjoy this year to come, and please share how this resonates. Do you remember the last time Jupiter was in Cancer between mid-2013 into mid-2014? And if you're looking for more guidance, book a reading at anastasiadoesastrology.com. My year ahead consultations are currently discounted, so you can save and get yourself ready for the years to come. For the lovely Pisces rising, I am thinking of this year as taking responsibility and working with limited or otherwise spoken for resources due to having a child, a partner not working, or something else. So at the start of the year, your second house is Aries. It's ruled by Mars, and Mars is retrograde between December 6th and February 23rd. And so Mars is retrograding from your 6th into the 5th, and you're maybe trying to figure out a good balance between your workload and pleasure. It might feel like it's a little bit hard to balance those two. And because Mars rules your house of finances, you're maybe having to spend on health, on work, technology, and equipment. Maybe you're spending on pleasure, especially if you're going on trips, potentially. Mars will be in Cancer between January 6th and April 18th. It goes direct on February 23rd. So after February 23rd, you may notice that things start to improve in terms of your finances. However, Venus rules your house of partners' money, and she goes retrograde between March 1st and April 12th from your second into first houses. And so Venus rules the house of partners' money. Venus is also hanging out in your second house of your money, right? So it's like an interesting thing where you are thinking and your partner, you're somehow considering your finances as together. And this is, of course, will make more sense if you are in a relationship or in a business partnership. If you're single, it might be more about just financial readjustment and figuring out what is worth spending on. But since Venus does rule your house of partners' money, and early in the year she's in your house, it makes me wonder if maybe your partner is depending on you, right? Your partner is not making as much money financially, you just moved in together, they just lost their job, or they just had a baby or something. There's like a sense of you're feeling financially like there's a lot on your plate, right? And there might also be some kind of investments or spendings that you're making that are connected to your partner somehow. Venus is retrograding between March 1st and April 12th. Mercury is retrograding between March 15th and April 7th. Both retrograding from your second into the first. You're very much focused on like what your priorities are, what is worth spending on, what is not worth spending on. Your money might be going towards like healthcare, especially if you have any like health issues, surgeries coming up, procedures. There's a final solar eclipse in Aries on March 29th. We've been having eclipses in Aries since April 2023. And so you would have been coming into your own financially. You would have been building more financial stability, coming, sort of figuring out, having more independence financially, and maybe looking back at an old stream of revenue, old source of income, coming up with ideas based on your interests. And so the solar eclipse is both a culmination of that independence, but also an opportunity to reinvent how you handle money matters. And it's going to be about stepping up and being sort of responsible and being serious. But it might have a bit of uncertain energy to it, right? Like you are needing to figure out how to hold on to money that is coming your way. And at the start of the year, it may feel like it's not staying in your hands because there's just so many places it needs to go. And that is, to me, especially exacerbated between March 30th and May 24th as Neptune enters Aries and stays there at first by itself. Then Saturn comes in between May 24th and September 1st. And, Neptune comes in first on May 30th. And Neptune it can be inspirational, but it's also very confusing. It means that you are operating out of this impulsive desire to just maybe have a good time. You feel like, what is money? I love you, so I'll buy you a bag for, I don't know, $10,000. Whoever buys those bags, good for you. No, I don't really want one, but I feel like if you have $10,000 to spend, that's awesome. But like Neptune being in Aries might suggest that you're just more like easygoing, free-flowing with finances, and that doesn't necessarily improve your situation. But then as Saturn comes in on May 24th and stays here until September 1st, it calls you to get more serious. It is another sign of your money being spoken for and your resources being limited, right? Because Saturn in the second house might mean that there is less money to go around. It's not necessarily that you're like losing your job or you're starting to make less. It could, because you're making a little less, but it could also be because you just bought a home, or you just had a child, or you made some other big investment. So there is a sense of like having to be really serious because it is up to you. It is really up to you. It's not up to other people. You can't really expect other people. And why I'm thinking of these like responsibilities that are coming to you is that, of course, Jupiter is moving from your 4th into your 5th on June 9th, 2025 for a full year. And it's an exalted Jupiter, which is actually quite beneficial. It means that you're starting to feel better after Jupiter being in the sign of its detriment from May 25th, 2024 until June 9th, 2025. You may have felt a little bit uncertain, a little bit lacking in optimism, just like overwhelmed with all the possibilities and all the time demands, all the demands on your time. So when Jupiter goes into Cancer between June 9th, 2025 and June 30th, 2026, you start to feel better. But it also means that your attention goes towards love, pleasure, and parenthood. And while that is happening, Jupiter is also in early June, it's also squaring Saturn in your 2nd house of money. So it's like very careful kind of consideration between following your bliss, starting relationships, becoming a parent, and having to be very structured about your spendings. So that is something to keep in mind. North Node in Pisces between January 12th, 2025 and July 26th, 2026 definitely gives you, and South Node in Virgo definitely once again encourages a better balance between relational and personal. And it offers you opportunities to be more responsible. I feel like I'm just giving you bad news, Pisces. I love you guys. I'm dating one of you, so I'm a big fan. But it does feel, it does feel like there is some kind of seriousness and responsibility that is coming your way. And maybe unless you get organized and unless you start to set money aside right now, it might hit you with a very frustrating effect. But a lot of times Saturn in the 2nd, and this year, like I said, it's only from May 24th until September 1st, but it will give you an idea of what this could be about. A lot of times Saturn in the 2nd is more frustrating because of our high expectations, because we expect other people to give us things or we expect certain rewards. And so ultimately it's here to teach you to continue to be self-reliant and to be your own rock and your own source of validation and confidence. Please share how this resonates. If you're looking for more guidance, book a reading at anastasiadoesastrology.com. Highly recommend you pick up my Jupiter in Taurus candle. Jupiter is still in detriment until June 9th, 2025, and this is Jupiter co-present with a strong Venus in the sign that it is all about bringing financial and personal stability and security. Find it at anastasiadoesastrology.com and take advantage of my year ahead readings being discounted until the end of January. Thank you for watching. Thank you for being here. I hope you enjoyed this forecast. Check out my love and career horoscopes. I've been working really hard to bring you all of this 2025 content, and please subscribe if you haven't yet. And I will talk to you in the next video. Bye for now.